Good morning. How are you today? So I have one word for you that's going to make a huge difference. So it's based on an experiment and surprising results. I was really surprised on this. So how did it feel to have one word that's going to make a huge difference in what happens in what you ask for or just kind of in your business and in your life? So welcome. And thanks for joining me. It's great to see you here. And let me know where you're coming in from and say hello. And if you're on the replay too, I'd love to shout out to you afterwards. And if we haven't met before, my name is Olive Dodd, and I'm here in two places today on my business page, and it's beginning of the week, so it's all about personal development and setting yourself up for be a better version of yourself. Good morning, Katrine. How are you? Or it's morning for me. It's evening for you, I suppose. But great. Thanks for joining me. Great to see you. And yes, so one word today. And it's kind of a psychological hack that I wanted to share with you today. And apparently it works with about 93% of the people. So Bavarian forest. Oh, beautiful. I'm just picturing all those trees and lakes and things that I see in what you post. So it looks beautiful. So this one word, so you can begin to bring it into your vocabulary. And so to make things work in your favor, and it's based on an experiment that was done, and it's coming from an Australian fellow called Kerwin Ray, and he's very knowledgeable in his business and life and just all kinds of things. So take what you want from this, but it's very interesting results, and it's not exactly what you would expect. So he uses this word all the time and to get what he wants. So the experiment goes that there's a number of universities that they did this in the United States, and it was lunchtime. And so people are lined up at a photocopy machine to copy their stuff. So a huge lineup. So the experiment was that every few people were given one of three questions and the goal was to try and get ahead of the person in front of them, so that they could kind of jump the lineup and, get to the photocopy machine. And just by using the power of words and the language that they use. So there's three questions. And so each of these testing people would pick or use one of them. So the first question, or the first set of words that they would use to try and get ahead in the lineup was, and I'll read it, is, "Excuse me, I have 5 pages. May I use the photocopy machine?" So it was request only. So what do you think? Was this like under or over 50% of the time did it work? So it goes along the idea that some people just never ask for what they want. You can go along and you can just kind of hope for it, but you never really ask. So it goes with the experiment of actually asking for what you want. So let me know, what do you think? I thought that this would be quite low, actually, because everybody in the lineup is, wanting to copy something. So I thought it was quite low, but the actual number, it was over 60% of the people that they asked would let them go ahead. So that was quite surprising to me. So the second question, the second reason that people used was now to give a reason why that they wanted to move ahead. So it went like, "Excuse me, I've got 5 pages to copy. May I use the machine because I'm in a rush?" And so now they had a valid reason. So what do you think happened with that? So Katrine says, request only. Oh, over 60%. Our wishes only come true if we dare to ask. Yes, exactly. So with a request over 60%, yeah. So now with a reason in there that I'm in a rush, what do you think? Was that under or over the reason before? So my initial thought is that yes, it was over because you gave a valid reason, right? But so it would work. So yes, it did. So now it jumped up to 94% with a valid reason. So that makes sense, right? Okay. So the third one is the same theory, but now the reason is invalid. So it goes, excuse me, I have 5 pages. May I use the photocopy machine because I have to make copies? So the reason isn't very valid, right? Because everybody is there. Everybody in the lineup has to make copies, right? So Katrine says more. So is that for the third one? So now, what do you think? Is that, would it go down or would it go up from a valid reason from an invalid? So let me ask that better so that it's simpler. The next reason, the invalid reason, do you think that will go down or up from the valid reason? So the answer is that it does go down, but not by very much. So with a valid reason was 94%, and with a invalid reason, it only went down to 93%. So what was the reason for that? So there's one word in there that makes a huge difference. And so can you guess what that word is? And this makes all the difference. So that word is because. So it's psychological because all our life, I just said it, because all our life we are conditioned to react to this word. You know, when your parents told you to, interesting numbers. Yes, exactly. So because all our life we're conditioned to question things, or to, you know, when your parents say clean your room, you get the answer because, and you say why. I told you so, or you're told to do something, and the child goes, well, why? Because I told you so, or because it needs to be done. So we're conditioned that with that word because, then we go ahead and we do it, or we comply to it. So it's because, exactly, it's so interesting. So when we want something that we want, use the word because. Test this out. It served them well. So don't be afraid to, first of all, ask for what you want, because otherwise people just don't know what you want, right? And the answer can, you know, the worst that can happen is you get no. And then throw in the word because, with whether it's a valid reason or an invalid. So without any kind of a reason, it was 60%. And with even a valid reason or an invalid reason, it jumps up to 93 or 94%. So that's huge, right? So that's the hack. So Katrine says, so because it's a trigger word for us to comply, we'll try it out. Yes, so that's really interesting. So I wanted to share that. So what do you think about that? Do you think, you know, that will work for you? And, you know, are you going to go ahead and try it? So yeah, don't be afraid to ask for what you want, and have either a valid reason or some kind of an invalid reason. Test it out, see what happens. So that's all I have for you today, and I just thought I'd try that out. So come back and share with me, you know, what you think about that, and did it work? Try it out for something simple or something even, more interesting and more valuable to you. Value. Thanks for sharing. You're very welcome, and thank you for joining me. Okay, we will see you again in 2 days from now, Monday, Wednesday, and Friday, 9 a.m. Pacific time in Canada. So until then, have a wonderful day and enjoy the rest of the day, or whatever part of the day it is for you. Bye for now.